Welcome to the Morning Glory Project, Stories of Determination, Extra Blooms Edition. These Extra Blooms episodes are revisits of our past guest. My co-producer, Angela Washington, and I very often find ourselves sharing updates with each other. Oh gosh, did you see what that guest was up to? Did you see what they did? Did you see that? Did you see that? And we figured that if we get excited seeing what new things they're accomplishing, that you might too. So these Extra Blooms editions are that, a little extra, where we revisit with a past guest to see what else has gone on since last we spoke. Maybe they've got a new passion project, a new idea, a new book, a new accomplishment, and we like to share that. So feel free to go to themorninggloryproject.com to listen to any previously aired episode. And we love it if you write a comment, share it out, give us a review, and let others know. Of course, you can always subscribe to the Morning Glory Project across all of the podcasting platforms. That way you just never miss an episode. So welcome to the Morning Glory Project. I'm glad you're here today, and I know that you'll love hearing from our Extra Bloom guest. I am so happy to welcome back to the Morning Glory Project in this special Extra Blooms edition, Damien Posey. Damien is a wizard of sorts in San Francisco. He is an award-winning Bay Area mentor, and he's affectionately known as Uncle Damien in his community. As a low-income boy of color in the inner city, young Damien chose a too familiar path, which led him down a life of criminal behavior, gunfire exchange that resulted in him being shot many times, and ultimately ended up being incarcerated. And inside of jail, Damien kind of realized this is not where I want my life to go and not how I want my daughter to see her father go. So he made some serious changes in his life, and upon his exit, he dedicated himself to be a better father, a better community member, and really, I think he'd agree with me, a better man. So today what he does is he devotes himself to helping young people avoid the path he took. And since the last time we spoke, Damien has formalized his organization, Us4Us, which is US, the numeral 4, US.org. So that's Us4Us.org. He's the executive director of that. And that organization is dedicated to helping youth and other vulnerable folks in San Francisco, doing health clinics, mentorship, entrepreneur training, all kinds of things. Damien was honored with a key to the city by Mayor London Breed and works with the Human Rights Commission as well. Damien, welcome back to the Morning Glory Project. Thank you so much for making the time today.
My people, my beautiful people. Thank you once again for having me. Thank you so much. I had to look in the mirror real quick. I was like, is that me she's talking about? But I'm definitely humble, definitely grateful to you and everyone else and to my city, for allowing me to serve them, man, because that's all I want to do is just serve the people,
Well, and let's talk about that service for a minute. And you and I spoke last at the end of 2019, and we are speaking now at the end of 2021. So a few things changed during that period. So when you and I last spoke, we didn't even utter the word pandemic or COVID or anything like that. So that all happened on your watch. And I'm wondering, what's that been like for you as you serve the community and the members and the vulnerable folks that you serve there?
It definitely has been a roller coaster experience, some good, some bad, keeping my community hopes and spirits up to the best of my ability. Like you said earlier, working with the young people, working with the reentry population, working with seniors. It definitely has been an experience like none other.
And can you tell me a little bit with some detail? I know that, we all have seen how COVID has just swept through various populations, but my imagination is that in a community of people with limited means, a lot of people of color, and a lot of youth, that it may have hit that community extra hard.
Definitely hit hard. I still live in the community where I was primarily raised at in Hunters Point, Bayview, and I witnessed it firsthand. Just seeing, people getting sick, people losing their jobs, people, literally almost losing their minds. The young people failing in school. When I was growing up, I thought, that would be the best thing in the world. Like I could go to school from my house. We would think that that would be amazing, but it actually did a great disservice to our young people. Not blaming anyone in particular. It's just something that just happened.
Yeah, it wasn't anybody's fault that it happened, but I would imagine that folks with more limited means had more limited access to computers, had and
Definitely,
internet access and all of those kinds of things. And also, I'm guessing, you know, more than one kid to a computer, if there even is one in a home.
definitely. I mean, to be honest, the San Francisco Unified School District, the city of San Francisco, um, I think entering into something that we've never experienced before, that they did what they could to address the issues as they came about. There were hotspots given out, there were laptops given out to students, but it was like kind of late. The organization of the classes was kind of unorganized, and once again, I'm not blaming anyone. It just is what it is. It was, it ran up on all of us.
Well, I mean, the word unprecedented keeps coming to mind because no, we were in uncharted waters. Everybody was figuring it out, but it sounds like some people were trying to bridge the gap. It's just that the gap was bigger
Yeah,
in your community than it might have been in communities of more privilege, frankly.
most definitely that happens. We were able to. You talked about Us for Us, going in depth about that. This was something that I was working on for years. I was getting it together, but when the pandemic ran up on us, I just saw it as the time. Like no, we can't wait anymore. We have to activate because there were so many people that were going inside, so many organizations that were going inside and shutting their doors, righteously so, but me being, I'm blessed to be a young-ish, strong man, I'm not married. My daughter's grown, so I didn't have to worry about any young kids or any older people. My mother lives in Louisiana. So I was able to identify myself and others like myself who could still be out in the community to serve the people because the people still needed services. The people still needed to be loved on. We were blessed to team up with Kathy Davis in the Senior Center. We were serving 205 seniors every day, bringing meals to their homes. We partnered up with Mobilize Love, another organization that I work with, and they weren't really into the communities, and I had the opportunity to, introduce them to more communities, more urban communities, and we worked together, and we were serving the people with meals, every day of the week.
So this isn't just for youth, obviously. You were serving all kinds of vulnerable folks.
Oh yeah, definitely not for the youth only at all.
Well, it's interesting that you say too, Damien, that I think lots of people who wanted to be of help to others had some limitations. They had obligations to their own young children, or they had physical vulnerability, or they were older, or they were in other work that they couldn't leave. So it's inspiring, really, that you saw yourself as, hey, I'm youngish, I'm strong, I'm healthy, and I don't have anybody depending on me right now, so I can go ahead and push my sleeves up and do this.
Definitely, that was definitely my thought process.
Well, so Us for Us also does, like, I'm seeing health clinics and mentorship and entrepreneur training. So the health clinics, was that directly in response to COVID? Like you were, getting health checks and tests and later on vaccines? Is that part of what you did?
Yes, definitely. So just being that, I'm Uncle Damien, I know a lot of people. This is my city. I know a lot of people with good hearts as well. So it was individuals who wanted to do some things but didn't know exactly how to do it or how to get it done or where their workforce or their volunteer force was going to come from, and that's where I'm blessed to thrive at, being able to cultivate individuals and people's kindness and their work ethic. And I'm like, hey, you guys want to do this, but you can't do it because you don't have the people. I have the people, and you got the stuff. Let's work together and get this out to the people. I teamed up with Wise Health. We teamed up with several different, health organizations who had access to COVID tests and vaccines of that nature, and we helped to get the word out. We helped to structure COVID sites and vaccine sites and stuff of that nature. So we just, like I said, we had to step up to the plate.
Well, it really strikes me that whenever there's a huge effort like this of whatever kind, I'm thinking, disaster relief after hurricanes and those kinds of things, there's the administrative folks that have the machinery to do what needs to be done. There's the people with resources that can contribute, but they need people on the ground to know how it really can be executed.
Most definitely.
Because I'm thinking back to other crises where you've seen, shipments of food sit and go bad in trucks because they can't get in and get served. And it seems that you're the kind of person on the ground close to these folks that knows how to get it across the finish line.
Definitely. That's one of the things that we were doing, man. We teamed up with Farms to Families and other amazing organizations, and we were giving out at one point like 1,400 boxes of food every week.
Wow.
And a lot of times, we had a station where we were set up at where people could come pick up. But I mean, a lot of people weren't leaving. So, I had places, I know a lot of families, I know a lot of large families like, hey, this is a mother over here with 5 kids. She needs, I know she needs it. Like she can't get out here, come to it. We need to bring this to her doorstep. Mm-hmm. I can name 10 families off the top of my head that's like that.
And Damien, we're talking here about San Francisco, of course, but there are Uncle Damiens in a lot of places, in a lot of cities.
God bless them all, too.
Yes, and indeed, and you as well. But it strikes me that it's important for those who want to do good to not try to invent the wheel, but to rely on folks that have already figured that out.
And that's actually a thing in the nonprofit world, in the CBO world. A lot of people have good hearts and want to do things, but sometimes it's like we need to do it my way or whatever the case may be. I don't have any of those hang-ups. I'm like, let's just get it done. I don't care who's in charge. I don't care who gets the recognition for it. I just know these people in these communities need these services.
Well, that's the difference between service and ego.
Right. And like you were saying, there's no need to reinvent this wheel. I'm blessed to have worked with Rudy Corpus, Sean Richards, Drew Jackson over there in Sunnydale, Jack Jackwell, Ray Balberon, all of these amazing individuals, Joseph Spinola over there in the Fillmore, Rico, the whole SVIP, all these individuals who've been doing this for years, so like you said, we don't have to reinvent it. We just have to hold up and sustain the good programs that are already in place,
Well, and also not be redundant, not have the same thing come from different places. And, here you are, Damien, you're rattling off a list of names that someone who is listening to this podcast in Baltimore or Dallas or Miami won't know. But that's the point, that the Uncle Damien or Aunt Damien in their community will know those people. And so, I think about, my own desires to be helpful, that sometimes what I think might be helpful, like sending blankets to a hurricane site or whatever, they think, oh my gosh, don't send us blankets. We got to ship that stuff. Just send us money so we can get it here.
Right.
That sometimes there's a way to help that's more helpful. So when you are looking for help for your community, when you're looking for assistance, I know, of course, or I'm assuming that people can go to us4us.org and contribute so that you've got more grease for the wheel.
Definitely.
But also that they can, rather than stepping in with their own plan, they can try to coordinate in their own communities with those already on the ground trying to do what you're trying to do.
I definitely encourage individuals who, if you do not see what you feel like needs to be done in your community, to create that. But first, look around, because It may be somebody doing that, and you just don't know them. You just don't see them. It's a big world we live in, a big community. Sometimes we miss stuff. Go to your community center. Go ask your local politician, your district supervisor, or whatever. They might have some information that you don't have readily available. And if you don't see it, create it, look it up, reach out to some other places. Google it. Google is amazing, and see somebody and reach out and get some advice like you're doing now. You're doing it for them, you know what I mean, which is amazing. But you could do it yourself, because as a community advocate myself, I always welcome individuals with ideas, and people who are willing to help. But like you said, the wheel's already turning, so definitely come volunteer.
Well, the other thing that I imagine too is that somebody who comes in with good intentions but maybe not such a great plan will burn out really fast, because it doesn't work so well and it's not so satisfying, and they get discouraged. Whereas if they're able to actually see the positive effects of their contribution of time, money, energy, whatever it is, they're more likely to get the reward of that feeling of, I made a difference. I did some good here. That feels really great. I want to do some more of that.
Yes, definitely. Those are those endorphins. That's the gas that keeps the whole engine in motion.
Is that what works for you, Damien? Tell me what gives you. I was going to say, tell me what gives you gas. That's a different kind of a question. What is the fuel for you?
Oh man, the fuel for me is, like I said, I still live here. I see my community, family members every day. I see the kids going to school and coming from school, and I see the drug addicts. I see the drug dealers. I hear the gunshots. I know what's going on. I know we still need, no matter how herald I am from the city and city hall and leaders and stuff of that nature, I still see the little girls suffering. I still, hear about, the sex trafficking and stuff that's going on. I see the homeless people every day. So those are the things that keeps me going, and letting me know that, and my own life struggles, remembering, not forgetting the things that I went through, and, the individual that I wish that I had in my life. That's all I'm trying to be, is the individual that I wish that I had in my life coming up. So all those things give me gas. And then on top of that, let me not just be a Debbie Downer. I'll also see the positive effects of what we're blessed to do in the young people. If you go look at my page, Us4UsBayArea, on Instagram, you'll see the young people whose lives are being changed, who are deep in these same communities but are choosing to stay out of trouble because they have an option. Us4Us is another option for them now. You don't have to join the gang. You don't have to, steal or do anything crazy, because you have an option with Us4Us to have your back, to hang out with some other cool kids led by an older, cooler kid, being myself. You have another option now. So, I also see that too, man. I have my babies who tap in with me every day, who are hitting me right now because they're getting out of school. They're like, "What's up, Unc? Is there something to do?" They want to do some community stuff. They want to give back because, they're becoming popular in that field. Like, that's another endorphin. It's like, hey, you don't have to be a hardcore gang member to get some respect and some love in the community anymore. You can be somebody that uplifts the community, and the community love you that much more. You know what I mean?
Well, and of course, I'm going to confess my ignorance to that world, because that's not where I am. But I can imagine that kids that are vulnerable, that aren't getting what they need, are really vulnerable to the seduction of a gang. It feels like you're part of something. It feels like you have a sisterhood, brotherhood, whatever it might be. So if you can get that in a healthier, better way, that's gotta have some mileage on it for them.
People of color are tribal people as it is, man. We like to be around people and, stuff of that nature. That's one of the things that I learned. People want to be part of something and feel like they belong, whether it be good or bad, and we're just trying to steer them to something better,
I want to ask you a question, and then I want to go back to something that you said. But tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurship training.
So the entrepreneurship training was something that I was blessed to hook up with Hope SF. which is a program out of City Hall with the mayor's office that focuses on a few housing sites. They had put out some type of grant and we applied for it. And what I did was, being that, we are dealing with a pandemic and COVID. And now, mind you, I have been out and doing stuff, but I'm respectful of the situation. I know people family members who've passed. I have people who are very close to me who've passed from COVID as well, personally.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. But we got to keep loving on the people. So what I did, me and my organization, what we did was we had entrepreneurial training on Zoom and in person. So we went to the communities and took over their centers. The majority of most housing projects in San Francisco have like a central hub, a center, leasing office, or whatever may have you. And I brought in entrepreneurs, man, to teach a basic entrepreneur class.
So this is like to help kids think of starting their own businesses, or
not just anybody. Everyone was welcome.
Oh,
everyone was welcome. You might have been talking about my entrepreneur pop-up, the Young Bosses pop-up that I did.
Okay.
We could talk about that. Your boy been busy. I've been doing a lot. So the entrepreneur workshop was something that I put on in person and in Zoom in 5 different communities on different days to just help individuals learn about business. Man, you would be surprised the amount of people who don't get started because they don't know the first little steps. So we took them, step by step.
Or even because they can't even imagine being able to do that. I wonder, if you look at a drug dealer in a twisted kind of way, that's an entrepreneur, right? I mean, that's a businessman.
Oh, most definitely.
So this is just putting them on a different track, but with getting some of the same skills in a better, healthier way. I want to go back to something though, Damien, because there are 2 things that come up. One is of course, the nickname by which you're known, Uncle Damien. And then when you talked about seeing kids going by, you talked about seeing my babies. This is really personal for you. This is family, isn't it?
It is.
So it must be a special heartbreak when things don't work out well for one of your babies.
So I am an empath. I'm an empathetic individual. I feel a lot of pain, and it's and joy. It's a bittersweet situation, but without getting too religious, because I'm not super religious. I have a personal relationship with God, but I believe that the Creator made me strong, maybe a little bit stronger than other folks, to whereas I could deal with it.
When you hear of a kid going the wrong route, or when you have so many losses to COVID or drugs or other perils that happen, I know that you feel that. I know you can't talk about people like your babies and not feel like badly when it doesn't work out. How do you get through those moments?
I think about the babies that I have left, and it's pretty, it's basically that simple, to a certain degree. Like I said, I'm blessed to be a little bit stronger than others emotionally, but then I have so many that I'm blessed to be in contact with, young people, my reentry people, my seniors, all of them. I don't want to say they need me, but they need this energy. They need, these services. So, as they say, the show must go on. I definitely feel it. I have had some times where, late at night after everything, the day's finally over, where I've sat and cried, some deep sobs, but, I got up the next morning and got back to it because, like I said, I think about my other babies and I know they need it just as much. So there's no give up in me at all. So
well, to feel the sorrow doesn't mean you're not strong. Of course, it just means that you have a heart, and that is evident. Damien, us4us.org is a place that if you live in the Bay Area in San Francisco and this is something you care about, that's a great way to contribute either your time, your money, or your energy in one form or another of support. But if you live outside of the Bay Area in another place, to listen and look and read your local newspaper and find out who the Uncle Damien is in your world. And Damien, you also have another title that you go by, which folks can find you on Facebook and other places, which is Once a Monster, Now a Mentor. And that phrase, ever since I've met you in this setting, nearly 2 years ago now, I've thought about that. And I've thought, that's a 6-word biography. Once, you have your story there.
I'm working on it too. I'm working on the books.
Once a Monster, Now a Mentor is a personal character story arc that is inspiring and touching. And the fact that you then transform that and help other people get to the same spot. I want to, as a member of the Bay Area community, I want to thank you for what you do. I want to inspire others to help you do more of it. And I want to ask you to take really, really good care of yourself.
I am doing my best.
Thank you so much for being part of the Morning Glory Project. I'm glad to have you back for this extra bloom.
It is my honor. It is my honor. I'm feeling bloomified. Whenever you need me, just let me know. You ask some amazing questions, and you get deep to it, and you make me think, and I appreciate that.
Bless you, Unc. Damien Posey simply amazes me. And it starts with that 6-word biography. Once a monster, now a mentor. That his life has transformed, and not by accident, but by intention. That he took himself from one way of living to another and now works to do that for others. The other part of Damien's story that came through to me more vividly than nearly any other today was how he referred to his community members as his babies and how they refer to him as Uncle. Unc. What would this world be like if we regarded every child as our baby? Every community member as our auntie or uncle or friend. This world is such a mess. And there are days when I just think, oh my gosh, how do we even survive as a species, really? But then I encounter somebody like Damien who is investing his heart, his time, his energy, everything he has. Maybe I can't do that much because I have other endeavors or other obligations, but I can do some of that. I can regard my neighbor as my family member. Notice, pay attention, tune in. And also, I can accept that I have limitations, that I can't do everything to help somebody, but maybe I can clue into resources that can be of help. That's an important thing to know, what your limits are, but also to bust through some of them. You can find out more about Damien at us4us.org. That's US and then the numeral 4, us.org, us4us.org. You can find him on Facebook at Once a Monster, Now a Mentor. And you can find him on Instagram at us4us.sfbayarea. Lots of inspiring, amazing stories in all of those places. I hope that wherever you are, that you're tapping into your potential and that you're finding your way to bloom and then have extra blooms. Thanks so much for listening.